Okay, and it means they move around into a counter matchup. Insta-lock on Yasuo Gragas. That is the ban that Cloud9 let up when they put Azir on the list, saying, okay, our answer to this champion is going to be Yasuo Gragas, and they insta-lock it.
It's likely going to be the mid-jungle, even though it's possible that that is a bot lane duo with Gragas Yasuo, and it's extremely exciting. That's one of those combos where if you do get hit by even a Gragas ultimate at level 6, you're probably going to die. It'll be really interesting to see how much Santorin has to babysit for Power of Evil to keep him relevant in this game.
And he's going to face a couple of bans, most likely, as Cloud9 now know they have a desync jungle match. We can toss those things at him, make the early game weaker. Now, for those of you watching on ESPN, you are heading to a quick commercial break, and we'll see you when the game starts.
And the additional thing here now is that Cloud9 doesn't have the AD carry pick, so we can go fairly far down Sven's champion pool. Obviously, Varus is gone, Senna is banned, Aphelios is gone. He played Misfortune last game, which has pretty good rotations and good teamfight utility. If they ban that, they probably knock him down to Ezreal, which, well, Sven is an incredible Ezreal. It just brings a much different dynamic to the game.
Yeah, I will say Kalista is the second most prized bot laner. It is a flex, don't get me wrong.
No, you're right.
Kalista is a highly prized champion there as well.
Open.
So
yeah.
But they chose, right, to ban the MF and Varus above that. And in the previous game, he chose Misfortune above that. So clearly the prize is where they put the bans on, as the Blitzcrank ban now comes through as well, which I think is also very compelling. So, but I do want to see if Kalista comes through, because Sven is not playing it a lot. He has no recorded Kalista games this split. I mean, he's got 2 Syndra games and no recorded Kalista games. So there is a chance he just doesn't have it in the tank. There's a chance he does. We'll wait to see, of course, as the bans have come through. Only one ban was sent at Santorin. It's the Olaf, and so he says, okay, let's find another good early game jungler. Rek'Sai is going to be it.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if that is actually a top lane set based on the fact. I'm just thinking through, if they do pick like an Ezreal or Kalista bot lane, they would border on having too much physical damage because Gragas would be their only AP threat. But if they do Kalista set bot, they're going to pick Licorice's top laner right now, and their composition is going to be a lot more balanced. I think that's what we're going to see.
All right, Galaxy Brain, it's Kalista top, Heimer bot set support. I'm not serious, but it's still possible in this draft. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But no, it is Kalista Thresh for the bottom lane. Set's staying up there.
Okay, so they're going pretty heavy in physical damage here. Gragas being their only magic burst. That can definitely work, especially when it's Blabber. It's just the Kalista set was super open, and I'm kind of sad we're not seeing Omnistone support set, because I think it's really good.
Yeah, it would have been fun. So let's count the things that can still work, though. As you're mentioning, this is a physical damage heavy team. You are often not going to see an arm guard out of the Syndra, although you may. It's not that easy to build armor on Aphelios unless he wants to go third item Guardian Angel, which will kind of delay better damage purchases. Solo will be hard to kill, Santorin will be hard to kill, and Ignore will be hard to kill. But if Cloud9 just want to kill backline first, they can still realistically take down Power of Evil and Wild Turtle in most team fights, and it's not like Solo is going to 2v5 at that point. We'll see what happens, of course. There is some more complexity than just that, and there is that little bit of magic damage that Blabber has, but yes, this can definitely be a concern where Solo, Ignore, and Santorin can get unkillable while still being moderate damage threats with items like Thornmail and Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, and I also think it's really interesting how Aphelios has trended throughout the playoffs, because there was definitely a time during these playoffs where he was just permabanned. No one was willing to let him through, but that's also when Tom Kench wasn't getting banned, because you could still save the Aphelios. Turtle is very much a lone Aphelios in a lot of these fights, which does make him vulnerable to getting jumped on, especially when we're talking about stuff like Set, Gragas, Yasuo. That is just so much stuff to kill Turtle with. It's going to be a journey in this next game.
It is going to be a journey, and of course, welcome back to our ESPN audience. The game is about to begin, and we have a very exciting draft into this one. It's going to be explosive out of the Cloud9 side, and also that Syndra, very highly priced champion, Aphelios as well. There are 2 huge power picks on the FlyQuest side that they are going to be very pleased to use here, and we're going to get ourselves into the game in just a second. And honestly, the first 15 minutes, FlyQuest had a great start. Santorin plus Ignar together combined for first blood. There was good pressure all around the map. The Cloud9 did get better mid-game. Now that we're into a new one, I want to see if the same thing can happen.
Yeah, and I just want to make a quick note for the viewers about these player cams that we're seeing. For the purposes of competitive integrity, the whole stream is delayed so that coaches can't on live see what's happening on a stream or something, so everything is pushed to about a 5-minute delay. The player cams last game became undelayed due to a bug, so that is hopefully fixed in this game, and it should be synced up what you're seeing on the player cams and what you're seeing in gameplay for this game.
Yeah, we basically pause the video feed and then say, okay, we're unpause the game, unpause the video, boom, sync it up, and
it went a little goofy last
there.
Game when Cloud9 stood up in the middle of the game, but that shouldn't happen again, hopefully.
It was an editorial choice to show that Cloud9 are so good that from that lead they can win 0v5. I think that was actually canonically what happened in the game, that the players are telekinetic and just use their keyboards and mice from across the room.
Oh, man. Okay, getting back to the stuff you're talking about early game, always very important. Actually, a pretty bold invade by C9 here. Probably looking to get more down.
Yeah, that's flash knockup. That flash up like an exhaust. That play is huge. It turns an aftershock, lets him walk away, taking less damage. And that is honestly, it is flash burned. But to be fair, exhaust and heal used on the Cloud9 side equals count of summoners. Don't get me wrong, Ignar burned both. And now it means that Cloud9 can yet again feel comfortable. And off that early play, despite Ignar initiating it, they don't get the better side of it, and Cloud9 gets the blue steal.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that Santorin cares that much about his blue being stolen. If we're thinking about Camp 1 timings, there's actually going to be a slower Camp 2 start for Blabber. The more important thing is the Summoner's spell usage, and it is 2 for 2. However, I think Hex Flash users like Alistair are much more free to burn their flash early, because if they have rush control, they still have a lot of potency with that Hex Flash. Of course, it makes them more vulnerable in reactive situations in terms of getting ganked by a jungle Gragas, but for all the action, the output is still, I think, a relatively close early game.
Right, and I really love that you're mentioning the lack of flash. Doesn't matter for offense, but it matters for defense, because that makes me say, okay, what is Blabber's pathing? Because the obvious target is on Ignar's head as the champion that you can kill and actually find something to do on. And so you look at Blabber's pathing, he stole blue, took Raptors, ran to his left side jungle. I assume he will probably recall, and then clear bot / focus bot lane with Predator boots, and that might be where he actually puts his pressure. We'll see if it actually happens, though.
And also comparing Game 1 to Game 2, in Game 1, Cloud9 had stronger pushing top and bot lanes, but they were pushed in mid lane, so they couldn't really take control of the map. They have an opportunity here where all of their lanes can be pushing, and Blabber wants to play very aggressive. Although, at the current moment, Power of Evil pushed in mid lane, so Santorin... Did Blabber smite away?
Wait, Blabber got that? No, it was the damage over time from Hunter's Talisman.
Oh,
Santorin smote early, went to 7 health, and Talisman last hit it. Santorin just needed to wait a quarter second for one more auto before smiting if it had gotten it.
That is completely tragic for him, because now he's actually going to get double scuttled. Previously, it didn't matter. He actually, based on his path, would have been able to get level 4 off of that Scuttle Crab. Now he's still sitting at level 3. Blabber can take both Scuttles, and Santorin has to farm his lonely old Gromp.
That is a bit of a tragedy. That is a very tiny misplay that you very rarely see, but it came up in this one, and it means Blabber got to get 6 camps down. And it is a slower recall. We see a lot of Predator junglers will do 3 camp recall to pick up boots to have the gank threat. Blabber doing much more of an aggressive full clear. Actually, speaking of aggressive, has actually lurked into the bottom lane there as well, has yet to buy anything.
Yeah, hoping that Ignar is going to go for a bit of an aggressive trade. That bottom lane is going soundly in the favor of Callista Thresh. The Callista Thresh is extremely potent as a duo, more so than the Aphelios Alistair, especially when Alistair doesn't have the defensive tools to be able to flash away. So that's kind of why it's even more crucial that Santorin didn't get control of either of those Scuttle Crabs. It means he can't provide any assistance to that bottom lane, and Zven and Vulcan are going to start maybe running away with it.
And I want to point out a couple of small details of how Licorice plays this matchup. You've seen a lot of Set vs. Ornn games, and there's a couple of similarities that it seems like Licorice does every single time. So one is he always takes a very early recall for Cull. Actually, mathematically, Kull is better sustained than Doran's Blade in the early levels. 3 life on hit is better than 3% lifesteal. And you punch a lot of sets, so you should get a lot out of that one. 2 is every trading pattern, he always saves Haymaker. He saves the W for when Solo's going to auto attack off of the W charge, because that is like, that's the end of the Ornn combo, so he's taking all the damage. He sets up the shield so that he blocks most of that when the percent health damage auto attack comes in, and uses that animation to guarantee that his own W is going to land for damage.
Yeah, it's a nice display watching Licorice play through this matchup. You can see one of the reasons why he's so confident playing into this in 2 games in a row, and especially if we're tracking the mid and late game. The bigger thing about Set in those team fights is where he can land his ultimate. There was a moment at the end of game 1 where Licorice basically took 60% of PoE's health because he ulted Solo's Ornn back into PoE's Azir. So that's the top lane, and then down bottom lane, the things are in complete control for C9, using that bot lane pressure to pick up the first Drake.
Good game, well played from Vulcan. Throws up the candy heart, and that is first Drake. Yeah, very early on as well. I'm always impressed if a team can get themselves together for about a 6-minute Drake. I think that's the mark of a lot of bot lane control. And speaking of which, 20 CS lead for Sven and Vulcan. I'm not surprised you can play the champion. This has been in the meta for a long time, and so has Sven as a player, but first time of the year and is absolutely slaughtering bot lane with it. Some of that, sure, can be Ignar not having flash. It's like, yes, Vulcan over the wall, finds the double play. Turtle forces a flash out, and now it's Ignar walking back as well. Has summoners back. Can burn them if needed. End of the day, it's still a flash down for Wild Turtle.
Yeah, flash down for Turtle, exhaust down for Vulcan. It doesn't mean they won't be targets down the stretch. I think, as we mentioned, Wild Turtle is going to have a target on his back pretty much this entire game. FlyQuest, even though the gold is even, is way more on the back foot right now than they were during the early game of game 1.
Yeah, this is a pretty good start, all things considered, at least relatively for Cloud9. This is going to feel pretty solid. The farm's still going through. We'll give credit to Solo, who has kind of flipped the matchup here, but he's actually up substantially on that side of the map on the Ornn.
Yeah.
Mid lane a lot closer than last time around, and as before, Sven feeling really comfortable in this bottom lane.
Yeah, totally good call out for Solo in terms of the player who didn't have an LCS team during the offseason, subbed in towards the latter half of the split time with the other top laner before becoming basically the full-time starter after FlyQuest was knocked down into losers bracket. So it's been quite a ride for Solo, and he is still performing at a very high level against Licorice.
Definitely is. Goes up and takes some honey fruit, catches back up in health and mana. Gotta say, it feels so satisfying getting to walk down to lane, shoving the wave, then fully refilling your health and mana once you're like 6 minutes into those things spawn. You feel like you have so much control. Nice punch right there. Ult's gonna come through though for Licorice to deal some damage back, as here comes Blabber, but also here comes Santorin. And this might be Licorice running low on health, gonna land the first half. Blabber gets the crowd control in time to save Licorice's flash. We'd have had to dodge that one. Santorin goes in for one, but Licorice gotta be careful. The health bar's low, the ult come in, doesn't even need it. Now it goes for Blabber. That's gonna be kill number 2, picked up off the ulti as well. PoE gonna take some damage. Nisqy answers one back, and he's gonna flash for more. Finds the next knockup, finds the chase down on Solo, who does not have escape tools. Will they have the damage with play? Yes, they will. Nisqy finds a double. The mid lane roam turns back to fight.
Such a close fight right there, where it looked like FlyQuest was going to be able to turn it, but Vulcan roams first. The fact that Thresh was there to equalize the numbers advantage is why that was able to go 2 for 2. Because yeah, as we mentioned, Solo had been doing work in this lane, and Blabber's trying to come and save this one, but look at how much damage Licorice takes. The fact that Blabber gets that body slam and that timing saves Licorice's life the first time, or at the very least his flash. And then Santorin flashing to get on the other side of the Gragas ultimate, super big. Notice the Rek'Sai ultimate's still up right here, so he follows pretty far in, almost all the way. And then, because Vulcan is here, is why Nisqy has the crowd control to be able to follow up on this kill for Solo. A big play, really, by FlyQuest, but the unlucky thing is it ends up giving 2 kills over to Nisqy's Yasuo, which I think will be huge moving forward.
It is going to be a big deal. He's obviously off to the races now, item-wise. I will point out that Power Beevil does have some more defensive tools. Nice flash swallow, but Sven is already fairly safe back there. Ignar's flash really accomplishes nothing.
Yeah.
Sad to say, and now Wild Turtle slowed, still flashless. Not a chance to get away. Burns the heal, but he's still not going to live through it. And Ignar, when his play back up, can they pull him in? There's the Yasuo ult. There's a ton of damage, and we're just taking double kill for double kill for double kill. Zen on the board for 2.
Ignar looks a little tilted. It looked nice as a flash follow, but that play was never going to work, and it turns to disaster. Now they're going for more. Blabber's here for the counter gank.
2v1 top side, make it 2v2 already. Blabber knocks back Santor. The turret shunts the health bar. And like I said, double kill into double kill into double kill. Cloud9 take turns padding the stats.
Yeah, triple double coming in for C9 this early on. Oh man, that's a huge tilter for FlyQuest, and that's the type of things that Cloud9 is capable of doing. What actually started as a good play for FlyQuest, if we think all the way back to the first top lane fight where Solo and Santorin were outplaying Licorice and Blabber 2v2, that was the only good thing that happened for FlyQuest in that entire sequence. The rest of the turnaround, the fact that Sven and Vulcan have had total control of this bottom lane, and FlyQuest got desperate to try and turn it back, that failed. And then when that failed, FlyQuest said, all right, we need to make something happen top lane, and oh boy, Ignar doesn't make it over the wall.
He's flashless. There's the Flay. Goodbye. Whose turn? It's Sven. Does he find a second? No, but it's still 7 kills on the board. Drake picked up whenever they want it, but for now, let's shove in the bottom lane.
So this is going very well for Cloud9. They pop this Rift Herald. They're going to be able to get solo first turret gold to Sven while they're taking Infernal 2. And they have a 2-0 mid laner who is equal CS to a Syndra, which has been banned against FlyQuest an absurd amount. So this freak is what Cloud9 was doing to the LCS all year. This is their record-setting early game, and this is why they're on pace to be the highest win percentage team in all of LCS history.
They're on pace for it. This is looking incredible in this game 2 right now. The Herald Charge comes in just for extra measure to bot lane tier 2. That'll fall, and we'll have the wave caught up by Wild Turtle. But a lot of credit to Cloud9, roaming on the map, finding the plays. I mean, the fact that Niski has roamed top once and bot twice and is up in farm after getting all those kills. Now Vulcan's in danger, finds the play, but he's still been crowd controlled. Burns the stopwatch. Here comes the re-engage. A nice face breaker buys some time, but it's still going to be the stun coming through. Vulcan will die, but the box comes down. Sadly, there are no reinforcements, and FlyQuest at least shows signs of life to get a kill on the board.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's what Ignar is going to have to be able to do this game. He's behind on the Alistair, but he's got that flex, that Hex Flash, and he has a playmaking mentality. 2,500 gold. He is so poor in this game, but he can still press WQ, and when he does that with the right situation, FlyQuest can get a few kills back.
And at the very least, Licorice has been denied gold. He's only got 4,000, so most members of FlyQuest have more than him. There's these few points you can go for, and I want to bring up something we talked about back early on in Champions League, which is that Cloud9 are physical heavy. Blabber's got a lot of gold, don't get me wrong, he's in a decent spot, but armor stacking will be efficient. We're seeing Power of Evil, Rush for a Rod of Ages, right? It's a lot of health. I kind of expect an Arm Guard to come in afterwards. That will make him quite resilient to most attacking stats that might come through. Turtle can go Phantom Dancer to Guardian Angel. There are efficient purchases that can, shrink the gold lead in practical terms, but Cloud9, of course, have the run of the map. They're taking a turret plate. Turtle runs away from a literal 1v1 because there might be someone else coming behind.
And even if there's not, a Blade of the Rune King Callista can just kill him at this point. But yeah, the turret would probably be enough defense for Turtle. That's just how defensive he has to play right now. And I completely agree with you about the defensive purchases that could happen for FlyQuest. It's just so much easier said than done with the onslaught of pressure that C9 is putting out on the map right now in terms of everywhere being a threat, in terms of having great control word usage, and in terms of having so many different ways to initiate.
And here we go. The wave's being cleared yet again. Sven being left mostly alone up here as he just knocks down wave after wave after wave. Turret plates have dropped, but top lane tier 2 could easily be the tier 1 could easily be the second turret to fall. And once again, Turtle has to respect the fact that Vulcan could be on the roam. There could be a dive coming soon from Niski and co, and they just back off. They lose a bunch of farm. This turret's going to fall. And you can see Sven stops hitting the turret. He's like, okay, let's let the turret live. Let's let it clean out my minion wave so we can deny more golden XP from Wild Turtle. It's a good tactic. It's going to work here. I think you let this wave get cleared. You wait as long as you can, but you claim the turret when you can.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, yeah, cash minions are enough. Let's let that wave push in.
No rush for Sven to pick that up. We're still a minute 30 seconds away from the next Ocean Drake. And the second Rift Herald is going to spawn shortly, so Sven by no means had to rush. And it's time to move mid now. So notice how FlyQuest is catching that top lane turret with Wild Turtle. That means the rest of C9 can move down, and they can start pressuring this mid lane, which will give them enough pressure to move towards the Rift Herald.
And Cloud9 heading up towards the top side, as you're mentioning. That Herald's going to be the objective. The gold lead is 3,000, which is quite good. It's the rough Cloud9 mark we've seen throughout most of playoff. 3,000 gold 50 minutes in. It's a big one. They are at slaughtering, and it's average for them. They just keep doing this to the other teams throughout the LCS, throughout playoffs as well. Eats pick up for Sven. He's going to grab the Herald for himself, as no one else wants to spend the time for that one. And we're going to see that bot lane is still pushing in. Solo gets 2/3 of that turret. He also got solo turret gold down to the bot lane. It's being helped by Santorin. FlyQuest making their best of the situation presented, also getting a red buff steal, and an easy jump over the wall.
And this might be a situation where they actually don't contest the third Drake, but they hope to contest the fourth. I'm just looking at the current itemization. Having that sad little Aphelios with Infinity Edge components and nothing else, that's not going to stand up to what C9 can bring. The one advantage FlyQuest have are Solo's items versus Licorish's items. Licorish has actually had to make a pit stop into a defensive purchase with that Kindle Gem, so he's behind, and maybe that's what's kind of encouraging FlyQuest to take this fight. But if this fight goes wrong, I don't think there's any coming back for FlyQuest in this game.
Yeah, potentially not. It could be really, really good for Cloud9 here. They're positioning now towards the bottom side. FlyQuest have at least claimed some vision control. They got the scuttle, and they are posted up. Licorice has taken his recall. Blade of the Ruined King done. He's walking back to lane, and here's the Herald summon into the mid lane. That's going to do a lot of damage to that turret. And Cloud9 can now kind of fork this a bit. They can say, hey, we can pressure mid if we want to. We can get some damage to the turret. It's going to die to almost just the charge. 2 autos from Sven probably does the rest of what they need. Takes a total of 5. There we go, knocks it down, turret gone. Hook in towards Solo, not gonna be the target they want, but Aftershock on cooldown for Vulcan. Makes him squishy if a team fight is to exist. They knock down the turret, they push back FlyQuest, and they don't go for the play into Vulcan. They're gonna now walk down to the river, but they are still gonna be a bit hesitant. Sven's gonna pull it back out. He can stack some spears.
I mean,
when does FlyQuest come down? Do they battle?
You'd think they want to, otherwise they should be pressing a side wave to at least accrue gold. Drake goes over, and here comes C9 maybe.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jat. I agree with what you said a minute and a half ago, which is that they probably give up Drake 3 and fight for Drake 4. I would have liked to see FlyQuest play something else than stand in our jungle and hope C9 screws up. Okay, they didn't? All right, well, we got nothing then.
Yep. I mean, FlyQuest eventually decided that the Drake wasn't worth contesting, but they had to be sure, you know? And the cost for that is they lost a little bit of minion CS in the side waves. Luckily for them, the waves were pushing towards them, and I don't think either one had necessarily reached the turret, so they'll still be able to pick up a decent amount of that turret gold. The more proactive play would have been to camp PoE up in that top lane, actually, push in the wave, maybe even get a turret, and maybe at least burn a teleport out of C9 to match it. They don't do any of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for FlyQuest to fight anyway, so it's not like the disaster happened yet, but they remain far behind in the game.
But I am curious, you mentioned it a little bit, that Ignar looked a little bit tilted in how much he was going for plays that weren't too good. You know, I do wonder if there's that little bit of FlyQuest not quite thinking clearly of saying, look, we're not going to win this Drake setup. Let's just get something else on the board. Let's trade 500 gold for the Dragon and try again in 5 minutes. And instead, I mean, they realistically did kind of nothing with that time. And you would always like to trade something on the map, even just for small things, right? It just felt like a misplay there of a missed opportunity. Regardless, though, we're still back in a map state where the gold lead is very slightly, I guess, growing. I believe it was 3,000 before. Now it's more like 3.5, edging towards 4. Cloud9, of course. Dragon Soul is theirs in 3.5 minutes. Ocean Soul, we know a lot of teams highly prize that one. We are likely to see FlyQuest attempt to stand up for it, but without getting the gold closer, it might not mean anything.
Yeah, and good flash burn. Niski didn't know where the rest of FlyQuest was, and probably an unnecessary flash, but definitely a safety flash. The name of the game for C9 is totally the Ocean Soul at this point. They have gotten there so early, they don't really have to worry about, hey, if we are too patient towards getting Ocean Soul, we'll get out a consideration for them right now. And now a flashless Niski is something FlyQuest should probably look to punish.
3v1, nice knockback. He has a knockup himself, be able to miss that one here. This is going to be a pretty easy dive with the knockup. Windfall buys some time, Redemption does as well. And here's the free still a 1 for 0. So the re-engage is in, Power Field is gone, and Ignar is likely to be next. Look at the flash play. Centaur's going to fall. 2 kills picked up. As the Force going to do so in this game. Give him the triple. Liquid shows up in a big way in this fight. It's a 3-1 battle for Cloud9. And they're right in front of Finn.
This is just such a slaughter by C9 and FlyQuest. You bet that FlyQuest was looking a little bit hesitant for plays. That's why. That's why they were hesitant for those plays. Because if you try to do something like this Cloud9 team, they're able to turn around this lead, drop the perfect amount of time, which is Windfall, and the rest of C9 could just collapse down onto it. 21 minutes there, 5.5 thousand fully charged.
And Blabber locks in for a slow wild time. He's gonna catch himself. They stop blocking. And then he gets the rest. Opening up the Blabber. Blabber blocks away too close to the pass. He cannot get it. Wireless one out gets being played. Unfortunately not able to knock down Blabber. Has to walk away on the opposing jungle. That's the red steal for Jungle Joker.
Even when C9 make mistakes, right now they're not suffering the consequences. So, great reaction. Heal Niski just long enough. Notice how Licorice is teleporting, able to complete, and then closes the distance, still has flash if he needs it, knows that someone else can finish off Ignar. Turns out he is someone else because he's just going to wait a little bit and finish him off with the WE. Getting that triple kill on set has got to feel good because he was the one person on C9 who was a little bit behind this game. Since at the very start of that double kill chain we saw from C9, it was actually Licorice getting killed. That doesn't matter anymore. It's in the past. We got an Infinity Edge onto Niski. We got Blade of the Ruin King and Black Cleaver onto Licorice. We got a Baron buff. And also, in case they wanted it, the Ocean Soul spawning in 22 seconds.
Well, climactic team fight probably about to begin with this Drake coming up. It probably signals game over if Cloud9 are able to claim it here. Baron buff, of course, on. Furthers the lead they've already gotten this game, which is 5,500. Extra regen in combat going to mean a lot, especially when your opponents have low damage output overall. Vulcan tries for the hook. He's going to find a play. Knocked up, though. Solo wants to take the fight. There's the dunk in for Licorice. Gets some damage, but not a whole lot else. That's a big hit. And Turtle's already gone at 3 for 0 instantly. Cloud9 turn it right back around. There is no chance for FlyQuest to win this fight. You're seeing some smiles on the FlyQuest faces. They know how much better Cloud9 have been in this series. 14-4 in kills, pushing down the mid lane.
I mean, for a second, Freak, I thought maybe they would have denied the Ocean Soul by having the game end. But it looks like C9 is deciding to just have Licorice go down, solo the Ocean Soul. They're taking the full roundabout of turrets in this one because the death timers are so short, C9 can't actually end the game. But this gold graph is so up and to the right in terms of control of this game, but also control of this series. Game 1 was close in that 39-minute back-and-forth brawl we saw. This game is not. And I just wonder what FlyQuest can even do mentally to recover, because it's still not over. The pain is going to continue.
Yeah, it is. You can see the attempt. It looks pretty nice, but Solo is so... You know, he engages, but Licorice is so tanky, and it's bad.
I mean, it was nice that Solo actually W'd the set ultimate, so he didn't fly himself into the team. But Licorice still got there, right? He was still able to make the initiation, and then everyone else on C9 was able to follow up beautifully. More and more gold in everyone's pockets.
I believe it was Facebreaker setting up the Yasuo ulti. So, I mean, the first 3 picks were all big AoE knockups. Obviously, Thresh is number 4. Kalista is arguably number 5 with the ulti. We've talked about this before, especially when Yasuo was first becoming meta years and years and years ago, is what's your knockup synergy? For Cloud9, it's literally everyone.
This is a
Useful.
Yasuo comp. Yeah.
It's a Yasuo comp. Use 5-1.
Yeah, we used to even do that. We're like, oh yeah, this is a Yasuo comp. In recent times, it's been like, oh yeah, you just need one. But it helps to have literally everyone on the team have a knockup that Yasuo can combo.
I think everyone but Sven has done the setup so far. In the very first roam topside, it was a long-range Vulcan hook, and then a couple of plays made it good. Then he roamed bot lane. It was like a double play for Vulcan. Then set that one up. That fight, I believe, was a face picker from Licorice to do it. And I'm confident we've seen Blabber land an explosive cap to set one up as well. So at least in not this game, something else. And now here's another play. There's the play towards Ignar. Of course, with the ulti on, he's not an easy target. There's the cast. They're not going to follow through. They could not get him far enough back to chase it down. But the health bars are low, and Cloud9 are regenning.
Yeah, at this point, C9 doesn't need to take a risky fight. They can rely on the sure thing. Burning the Alistar ultimate is useful in terms of getting more overall gold on the map. Niski gets a little bit cheeky with the Santorin fight over on the side, but for the most part, I'm just kind of expecting C9 to prep these waves as much as possible so that if FlyQuest try and move somewhere, that C9 can counter somewhere else. Blabber, probably fine.
It's a knockup. It's a bunch of damage. Blabber's getting a bit low. His ulti's still down, but he's able to run away. And yep, regens through. Ocean Drake adds about 150 health, and not going to make the difference. Just simply walks out.
Look at Sven in this game. If they win this one, he will be 1 game away from being the first player to win an LCS and either an EU LCS or LEC championship, depending on how much you care about the name of the league there. But it's something that he was so close to doing in the spring split of last year as a member of TSM before they got reverse swept. So still lots of league to be played, but things are looking pretty good right now for C9.
Flash knockup, decent damage, stopwatch burn, 4v1, but is it really? The reinforcements come in, and Niski puts up the win ball, but cannot survive. That's kills picked up now, but here comes the reaction. Sven is now dominating Power of Evil. Doesn't have a lot of places to go. The G2 swag comes in for Sven for good measure and finds himself a double kill. That's one of his championship teams, his only championship team before. There's a triple to add to it. Adds the Misfits logo for good measure. Goes back to G2.
Done his emote prep for this game. Good job, Sven. Getting more and more gold. They've killed everyone they need to. They can turn for another Baron. They can make sure that they have Death Stance completed on Niski for the next fight. Maybe Sven has enough gold to get a Death Stance of his own. I actually think that's sometimes the correct 4th item on modern-day Kalista, but that's just cherry on top analysis. That's not what really matters right here. What matters is C9 is 11,000 gold ahead with Ocean Soul picking up their second Baron.
And more importantly, Sven is just jamming that hotkey to put emotes down as they kill Baron. It's not even a swag on his opponent, it's just for the observers, so thank you, Sven. I appreciate the extra little bit of excitement as the squad knocks down their second Baron of the game. This lead, I mean, just absurd. It's insurmountable. It's 12,000 gold up. Ocean Soul's been on for a couple minutes now. This is almost unlosable at this point in the game as FlyQuest are getting ready to defend something, and Cloud9 are getting ready to push into the base.
Yeah, if they don't find a fight now, they can likely just turn back for the Elder Dragon. But yeah, GA on Sven, Death Stance on Niski, and Santorin was going on an adventure right there. Seems like he's
fine. He blue spied and walked away, but Solo is going to be in a little bit of danger. That dunk does a bunch of damage. Turtle flashes out to safety, but Solo's at half already. Look at the cast. It nearly kills him already, and it's actually a kill picked up. Hey, well done to FlyQuest to get one on the board. A knock-up onto Licorice, but Solo cannot get away. The flash does nothing. That's the 4th kill in a row now for Licorice up in that top lane.
Yeah, a little surprising. Blabber died with his Zhonya's Hourglass still available. Looked like a bit of a CC lock. He was hoping to get the heal from Redemption and died just beforehand. Still, though, there ain't stopping Sven at this point. 906 Kalista with Baron buff, and C9 looking to open up 2, maybe 3 inhibitors.
And looking to close the game out in about 30 minutes here as the middle inhibitor turret's going to drop. The bot inhibitor itself is already gone, and there's no defense for mid lane. Now, we'll point out that the respawn slightly favor FlyQuest, and that Blabber is on the wrong side of the map when you respawn, so FlyQuest get reinforcements first. And it means, as Blitzcrank thinks a little bit about this game, Cloud9 are going to take a quick reset. And no, Elder Dragon's up in just 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, freak. Cloud9 wants to make the most of this spring split. Like, think of all the time they've put into practice this split. Why try to end the game early? Let's enjoy this 13,000 gold lead that they have. This will probably be the final fight as Blabber moves in. He has ult. Niski has ult. They don't need to risk any type of 50-50. I think they're looking to engage.
Santorin jumps the wall. Cloud9 stay grouped up. They get rid of most of the wards. There is the darkness. There is now FlyQuest not knowing what's going on this side of the map. There's the hook into the front line. There's the box. They play back solo. And here comes the engage yet again. Stopwatch gets burned on a Blabber. Nitski's already in the back line. Fights Santorin, who jumps away and stays alive. But Blabber finds out the first kill. The second one goes over to his top laner. And that wind wall was perfect. It blocks everything from PoE. A double kill for the jungler. Double kill for the top laner. There's the kills coming through fast and furious. The Bud Light Ace for Cloud9. They will not go for the Dragon. They will go for the Nexus. A 30-minute win is almost slow for their taste, but it was dominant the whole way through. Cloud9 gonna have a 2-0 lead in the finals, on their way to be the best team to ever defeat North America. This is a slaughter as the Nexus falls.
Niski proves he is not a KDA player, flying into the Nexus right at the end as C9 make that final push. But the 9-0-9 from Sven in this game, even though so many people succeeded for C9, is what I would want to focus on a little bit. They were dominating that bot lane from minute one. That moved into early Scuttle control, early Drake control. It unlocked Vulcan to make many roams in the mid game to help pull C9 ahead.